This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
We work hard as physicians to take care of the health and well-being of our patients. But when it comes to our money, do we have the same condition of care? Probably not. Let's change that together. Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, where we'll fight and advocate for your financial literacy. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Thanks for being here. Let's jump into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode, and I've got a fantastic guest for the audience today, Josh Muskin, and he is a entrepreneur, he's a leader, and he's going to talk to us all about digital advertising trends of 2024, talk about Google Meta ads and marketing, and it's going to be a great fascinating discussion for the audience, for those interested in tech entrepreneurship, marketing, social media influencer, all of that. So Josh, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm always interested in the cutting edge, hearing what is new and novel. This year is AI. So kind of talk about, what you do, how you got there really briefly, and how the audience can benefit from your expertise.
So I have been in digital marketing space for probably about the last 15 years. I got my start really with the company that I work for now as a 6-person marketing agency. And most recently, we've reached about 200 people over the last 10 or 11 years. So quite a bit of growth, worked with thousands of clients over the period of that time. So what I hope to be able to share is some of what I've learned working with a huge variety of people in different industries, verticals, selling different things, and all the challenges that they've run into, the ways they've broken through it, and how all that can be applied to kind of all the new fancy stuff we get to play with here in 2024.
I love these moments. For example, in 07 was the iPhone moment, kind of 2010 was kind of like social media. And so what is, you talk about this moment in digital marketing this year. What was it that changed that will cause digital marketing to change in the upcoming years?
I mean, the most obvious to point out is that AI is not perfect, but at least useful. So at the end of last year, you could argue that it was very novel. It was fun. You could use ChatGPT to make bedtime stories for your kids or, what have you. But we have started to see not only the rise of significant players in the software as a service space that are just leveraging AI internally for their platforms, but also teams that have found workflows to use it. So it's more of an everyday part of the lives of people in our industry versus, kind of a shiny new toy that people don't really know what to do with.
Yeah, which is, it's kind of this point where AI has gone mainstream. It's, it's very cheap and affordable, and everybody can use it. And especially with, you talked about, ChatGPT back in November. How is AI going to change SEO and digital marketing?
So there's been a lot of press and interest in what people can see with AI. Things like using ChatGPT is about, things like Midjourney and DALL-E creating something that we can actually look at. The biggest changes in our world are going to be the things that you can't necessarily see that are happening behind the scenes. And a lot of that, one thing that you can kind of see is even now, if you start doing Google searches, instead of standard results as we're used to them, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera, you're starting to see in many cases just the output of AI generated content from Google's version of AI. I think they landed on Gemini for the name now. So now instead of just getting a website to go to and read, you're getting Google just printing you answers. So that is brand new as of April, largely. So that is certainly a way. And then the other is going to be something that no one's ever actually going to be able to see directly, but you'll see the effects of it. And that is how content and information are presented to you. So we've been used to this for a while, knowing that my Instagram algorithm and your Instagram algorithm are going to serve us wildly different pieces of content. But this is starting to be true for advertising platforms too, as far as who you want to put yourself in front of. There are less and less available options to choose things like manual targeting. Like I want males 35 to 45 who are interested in cars or whatever, and more just, hey, give us some data about the people you like, and we'll go and do that targeting for you. It's
really interesting because here I'm traveling in Europe throughout the summer, and actually it's with ChatGPT, I can actually put in pictures, and I can put in different things, and it can actually, it's almost like a tour guide, and it really saves a lot. If I have questions, and it can break through language barriers, it can translate things. And then so the next question is, what are so kind of, you mentioned Google and Microsoft, Twitter's got Grok, all these different AI platforms. Which is better in terms of with like ChatGPT? Is it Google? Is it Meta? Is it Twitter? Instagram also has some AI capabilities as well. So how do you distinguish what you need, or what is the best?
There are use cases that make some better than others, but a lot of it still at this point is on the responsibility lies with the person providing the inputs. It's a garbage in, garbage out scenario. If you're trying to get to a really specific outcome, such as like one of those really awesome, super detailed photorealistic images you see of Midjourney, right? Like Abraham Lincoln on a computer or something where it looks like it was a photo taken. That's not just a 2-word query. People are putting in what the f-stop of the camera is, and the lighting, and the time of day, and the angles. Like there's a lot that goes into creating anything. And so if you're creating things like pieces of content, there needs to be heavy amounts of research and tone definition and outline input in at the front. Same could be true for image, or what I imagine the video queries will be with things like Sora when they come. So it's not necessarily true that one is better than the next. What we have found, though, is at least in the case of writing and content production, nothing that we've seen presented from an AI as just an initial output is going to be better than what a really good kind of human copywriter would create. The way to think about the output of AI for things like text-based information is that it's the average of what it has available. It takes everything, all the polarizing views, all the views that are very similar, and it creates an output that is something like right in the middle of that. So it is still very easy to rise above in terms of interest or quality or humor or something to that effect. And that will, get better over time, but it is sort of the average of what's out there right now.
Yeah. And what I found useful is like kind of ChatGPT is like, it's what I found have been the most useful, but then like whenever it's down, or it's got outages or some issue, I always go to like Gemini, or it's not as good, but it'll kind of do the trick for, it's kind of like a kind of a workaround. Moving on, the other question is this idea of when you talk about the top the top 3 digital advertising trends of 2024, what are you seeing?
There are a few that are really notable. One of them is going to be this idea of data as targeting. So I referenced this a little bit earlier. In the good old days, for example, of Facebook advertising, you would say what gender, what age, what interests, what groups do they like on Facebook, what have you, and you would get to this like very specific audience. But now, particularly if you're in a protected category, which is defined as things like finance, housing, credit, employment, there are, in some cases, like no targeting capabilities whatsoever. It's sort of like you can't pick a person, you can't pick a gender, you can't pick an age, you can barely pick interest. And so the only way that advertisers are getting their ads in front of you is by providing essentially data to the ad platforms, which is an interesting situation because the advertiser has to have data. It has to say that these 33,000 people are who I really like. Go find 10 million more of them. And Facebook, in that case, will use its 70,000 data points on you as an individual, which is weird, and go find other people like you that likely will buy. And that data set is increasingly important because you're not going to be able to use third-party audiences soon. Things like cookies going away or privacy getting even more strict. You're going to have to rely on what you've collected first party. So companies that you see out there doing a really nice job have a really big first-party database of this information that they can share. The other one is going to be the promotion of people within a company instead of a company. So a big chunk of the clients we work with are B2B in some way. Right. And in many cases, the way that you've seen business marketing done is big corporate logo, big slogan, and all about what that organization of their software does. What is increasingly popular now is you start to see creators that are also the CEO or the founder or the president of those organizations start to publish a lot of content on places like LinkedIn or the other various mediums to say, hey, the company's great, but the leadership actually knows what they're talking about. And here's why our culture is something that you might align yourself to, which is not something that you used to get from, SAP or something back in the day. And the third one we've talked about quite a bit really is just AI. The people that are finding a way to use AI that is scalable and not as a stopgap for a skill set that they should have had are the people that are getting a head start now. And you can see that as acutely as the people that are being referenced in Google's AI answers of their sort of standard organic search results. Those people have made considerable effort to be shown there.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Forget the burdens of tenants and toilets. Equity Multiple simplifies your investment journey, letting you invest passively in vetted, professionally managed commercial real estate. Only 5% of reviewed investments reach Equity Multiple's platform, with our asset management working on each from funding through exit to maximize your returns. Whether you're on the couch, in your exec chair, or the backseat of a rideshare, Equity Multiple brings cash flowing real estate investments straight to your fingertips. All investments involve risk. Visit equitymultiple.com to learn more.
What are the top 3 mistakes you see companies making in their digital marketing campaigns?
Sticking with the AI theme, just publishing content that ChatGPT produced for them. Yeah, there was actually sort of a reckoning of that about a month ago. There were people basically just producing 50 blog posts a day. They'd go to ChatGPT, put a query in, it would spit something out, they'd copy it, paste it, publish it on the site. And Google got really good at being able to figure out what ChatGPT wrote versus what an actual person wrote. And all the companies that over-indexed on just using AI-generated content, all that content got de-indexed. Much of it went away. In many cases, the site as a whole got punished to an extent too. That was sort of Google's reaction to like, please don't do that. Please provide some sort of value. And so that was the biggest mistake because the people that got hurt from that really got hurt. They lost a lot of traffic, a lot of rankings, et cetera. The other two are not realizing that there is an inability to acutely target as there was even pre-COVID. What you're taught in marketing school is like right message to the right person at the right time. Those are the 3 things that you're always trying to do. The right person used to be within that targeting set that I've talked about. You could select all their demographics and generally that was the right person. But the people that are getting the head start and shifting away from having to use that targeting and hoping that it's the right thing to using data sets that they have and first party information that they have, continuing to try to do it the old way would be quite a big mistake. And you'll know that you're doing that when you start to say things like this used to work and then it just stopped working. And if you're in that situation, you probably fell somewhere in that trap. And the third one is just there's an increased pressure now more than ever to be the first to something, to a new platform, to a new feature, to a new way to connect with your audience. And there are preferential treatments given, if not outwardly, at least subvertly, to the people that are first to those markets and first to those platforms. So constantly putting yourself in a position to have budget set aside to test a new thing, or to understand that you need to go try something and maybe it won't work, but it's important to be there. The avoidance of that for safety can feel right, but it often is a mistake in the long term.
Yeah. The other, and I love how you're, these expertise and, these ideas. It's almost like kind of like before AI, there was like, and then social media, and then people learn how to game social media, and then, and then like they got kind of gates to like regulate, and now it's like AI, and it's almost like you always have to like be on the forefront. So if I were a marketer, like a lot of audience, they're social media marketers, influencers, CMOs, what trends, should we be paying attention to? Obviously AI, but what other things should they be focusing on?
There is a tough activity to do, but it's important as a marketer, which is to separate attempting to market to your audience from how that audience would like to be marketed to. So one thing that people skip far too often is understanding really where their audience is and how they consume information and what they like to consume at the various different stages in their awareness cycle. So if you see, for example, LinkedIn just rolled out to some percentage of its users an interface that's very similar to like TikTok and Instagram Reels, if you're on mobile, right? You as a marketer may say, new feature, we have to do that. Right, we have to go make short form videos for LinkedIn because that's all that's there, and we have to fill that void in our plan. And on the other hand, if your audience has never opened LinkedIn in their entire lives, like why care? And maybe double down on something that's working. So it's not a trend globally, but understanding where your audience is moving to, what they are starting to do. We've seen a significant shift in B2B audiences leaning into finding quality newsletters and communities built off those newsletters that they really like. So we're not going to go and make TikTok content. We're going to go and create a newsletter for those people. And it's picking and choosing the avenues you go to based on the trends of your individual targets.
Interesting. I kind of want to talk kind of very specific. And one of this is how to optimize your ads to drive revenue and not just clicks or leads. And I don't know if you can talk about secrets to profitably scaling Google and Facebook ad spend to 7 figures plus per month.
Yeah, I mean, there's one, to oversimplify that issue, there is one key thing to do there, and that is this idea that the way that most ad accounts work is you send traffic through various different forms of targeting and what have you. You send them to a place, typically a landing page or a website, and you want them to do something, buy a product, sign up for your service, fill out a form, call you. There's a goal oriented. And the way that most platforms work or have worked for a long time is you take the traffic, you send them to a page, some percentage of those people do that thing you want them to do. You essentially give that ad platform a high five and say, great job, those people did the thing I want. And it creates this feedback loop where it tries to replicate that process as many times as it can. And that's its job. The challenge is, if you are not putting something in place in order to do this, those platforms don't know which of those actions was better or worse, which of those people was qualified versus not qualified. So for example, if you could only work with people who, if you were a repair shop that only repaired Toyotas and you got a bunch of form fills for people with Fords, Google would think it did a great job because it got all these signals that it did a wonderful thing, but you'd be like, hey, I didn't get any Toyotas, I only got Fords, this is bad. And so the one change to make is to fix what that event is, or fix how you are qualifying that thing that you're telling the ad platform you want more of. In that example, you would choose to only share information back to Google or Meta or whoever if people said that they had a Toyota that they were bringing it to your shop and that was the car that you could actually work on. And in some cases, people are afraid to do something like that because in your math of your cost per car brought into the shop, you will suddenly see a much higher dollar figure because you're not counting any of the Fords, right? But what is happening is you're now saying, hey, Google, I only want the Toyota people. So please only do something if you think that they have a Toyota. And over time, those ad platforms will start to target more people that are likely to have a Toyota versus the ones that it was getting for you before that had all sorts of other car manufacturers. And while it is a simple change, there is a aspect of what is the right thing to qualify them? What is the right question? What is the right piece of criteria? And I urge people to go and ask whoever the people are that talk to their leads first, typically an SDR, a BDR, something like that, and just say, hey, when you want to figure out if you should care about this lead or not, what's the one thing you ask? What's the first thing you ask them? And it would be company size or type of car you drive or type of technology that you use, whatever that one filter is that says we can or can't work with you. That becomes the thing by which you filter all your information. And you're slowly starting to train all of these algorithms and the AI that you can't see with your own eyes to go after what it is that you actually want versus what it is that it was getting you by chance. And that starts to get you to a real metric for what it actually means to acquire a new customer or a good lead. And then the level of confidence you would have to scale that increases significantly because it's going to get you that thing that you actually want versus all the ancillary stuff that wasn't there.
Interesting. How can, if people are more interested in your expertise, how can they find you on socials, reach out to you, connect with you, and work with you?
Yep, there are a bunch of different ways to do that. The easiest, if you're in need of sort of any of the things that we do, paid advertising, SEO, what have you, you can just go to webmechanix.com, WebMechanix, because we're fancy, .com. You can check out all the services there. More importantly, for the people that just want to learn more, at the bottom of that page, there's a sign up for a newsletter that we run called Digital Marketing Insider. It gives a bunch of details about the things that I've discussed here, how to use AI, how to optimize your ads better. And it comes to your inbox a couple times a week, all for free.
Yeah, I love that. And for all the audience, let's thank Josh for coming on and, sharing his valuable wisdom and expertise and time. And be sure to give his socials a like and follow. Reach out to him, and thanks so much for coming on.
I'm excited that you made it for another episode. You are truly the best. If you've been following the show for a while, you know that my passion is to bring you the education you need to find your path to financial freedom. Please come back week after week for new content, new resources, and great guests. Until then, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the website, www.drchrislewmdphd.com for more support. I'll see you next week.